Hi yogis, Katie Gasaway here at my studio in Elgin, Texas, Body and Shine Wellness. Today's full flow, we're going to be focusing a lot on opening the front side of our body, so like our chest, some heart opening, hip flexors, and quads. So you might want to grab a blanket and a block, but other than that, I think you should be set, and we'll get started here in a second. All right, so to get started, we're just going to begin in a comfortable seat. You're welcome to sit on your block or your blanket. Sometimes elevating your hips up, especially if you have tight hip flexors or knee issues, can help alleviate some joint pressure. So starting in a comfortable seat, close your eyes, relax your shoulders down away from your ears, and sit up tall through the crown of your head. Begin to focus in on your breath. Each inhale, filling up from the crown of your head all the way down to the base of your hips. Each exhale, letting yourself empty out from the ground all the way back up. Every breath in, let it be an opportunity to be present right here, right now. Every breath out, letting go of any distractions, plans, or obligations. As you move on your mat today, remember that the real practice of yoga isn't about the shapes that we make with our body. It's the opportunity to connect to yourself, your body, your breath, this moment in time. With that in mind, take another big full deep breath in. And exhale, let it go. You can choose to leave your eyes closed or start to gently flutter them open. Either way, we'll begin with some neck rolls. So tucking your chin down towards your chest. Rock your right ear over to your right shoulder. We'll go all the way around in at least one big slow circle. You're welcome to do more if you want. Feel free to pause and breathe. Maybe rock back and forth in any tense or tight places. You're welcome to keep going in as many circles as you want. Once you've done at least one or two, pausing in the middle, holding, notice the difference already between the right and left sides of your neck. And then starting to even out, going over left ear to left shoulder. If you kept count of how many circles you did the first time, try to even them out this time around. If you didn't keep count, just do what feels natural. Again, take your time. You can always pause these videos, spend a little longer if you need to. Once you have evened out your circles, keeping your chin tucked down, roll your shoulders up by your ears, and then squeeze your shoulder blades down and back, sending your chest a little bit forward. So starting to cultivate that little bit of heart opening that we're going to work on today, like I mentioned earlier. Once you've done a few shoulder rolls, if you have shoulder injuries also, you can just do one shoulder at a time too if you need to accommodate more space. But once you've found a little bit more opening through your chest, some seated cat-cow to warm up the rest of our spine. So just like you would cat on all fours, hands on your knees, you're gonna round your rib cage back behind you like a scary Halloween cat, tuck your chin down. And then just like you would cow on all fours, sticking your belly out, your chest forward, maybe looking a little bit up to stretch your throat. You can keep going with a few of those. Just breathing into your spine. Once you've found a little bit more space, feel free to change up the movements to whatever suits you. So you can circle your rib cage, you can reach your arms up overhead, do a little side to side stretch. Maybe you do a seated twist, a little forward fold, anything that works for you. It doesn't have to be something that I've named. You know, it can just be free-flowing movement. That's always the best, just letting your body do what it needs to do. Once you've done several breaths like that, making your way to down dog. Take your time to get there. So coming on to your hands, finding maybe a tabletop position to start, and then sending your hips up and back. Once you find your down dog, maybe starting to wake up the lower half of your body, stretching out your hamstrings or wiggling your hips a little bit side to side. If your shoulders are a little tight, you can soften your knees and bring your chest towards your shins or your upper thighs. Then find a little bit of stillness. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Your next inhale, start to look forward. As you exhale, small steps up to the top of your mat so that your hamstrings can stretch along the way. And find your way to ragdoll. Feet at least hip-width distance apart, maybe even a little bit wider. Soften your knees as much as you'd like to. Let your head and neck relax. Arms can dangle. You can grab opposite elbows and release your hand behind your heads, or maybe your legs, your heads. You probably only have one head, but oh well. Let yourself relax. If you want a little gentle motion, you can sway side to side, wiggle your toes, shake your head yes and no. And slowly start to release your hands. Shimmy your feet to a standing width distance. That could be hip width or a little bit closer together. On your next inhale, begin to roll your way all the way up to stand. We'll meet with eyes closed and hands at heart center. And take this opportunity to set an intention or a purpose for your practice. Something that if your mind starts to wander into to-do list mode or the past or the future, what's that thing that's going to anchor you back here in your body, in your breath? Whatever that thing is, take a big full deep inhale, seal it in your heart, and exhale, let it go. Take another breath in and breathe out. And begin to flutter your eyes open. Inhale, mountain pose. Arms come up overhead. If you need to kind of reposition yourself or just kind of find some movement through your joints, your ankles, your knees, whatever you need to do. I've always got to do a little snap, crackle, pop first. So whatever you need to do to get yourself settled, relax your shoulders down, pull your belly in and up, and notice the tilt of your tailbone. So especially as we do some front side opening today, a lot of times our natural inclination is to send our tail back, and that dumps into the low back, which is why people don't like hard openers a lot of the time. So instead of doing that, tilt your tail a little bit down or forward, and then pull your low belly in and up. Feel your core engage a lot more when you do that, especially through that hip flexor area that we're also going to be working on. And maybe you even feel your legs engage a little bit more too. So that's what we're going for there. In your mountain pose, finding those adjustments, take a big breath in. And then exhale, start to bring your hands down behind you. You'll clasp your hands right at the base of your tail and then roll your shoulders down and back as you breathe in. So we're not trying to do a mid to low back bend. Your hip flexors don't need to go anywhere, just opening up through the chest and shoulders. Take a breath in. And exhale, start to fold your way forward. Hinge from your hips, lead with your heart, let your head and neck relax. If it feels like too much in the shoulders to have the hands interlaced, just release to a traditional forward fold. If we feel okay here, maybe starting to lift the knuckles up towards the ceiling, away from your low back. And think about lifting more up so that the front side of your chest still stretches, rather than going towards the floor and kind of collapsing into your rotator cuff or your low back. So finding that length through your spine. Then inhale to a halfway lift, bringing your head up in line with your hips. If you want to keep your hands interlaced, just rest them right on your sacrum. If you'd rather undo them, or you already did undo them, just hands to your shins, your block, or the floor. Take a breath in. And exhale, high plank. Plant your hands, step back, top of a push-up pose. You'll hold and breathe here. Feel the weight more in your fingertips, less in your wrists. Lift through your shoulders like you've got a little string attached to your shoulders, lifting you to your ceiling. Inhale, shift forward. As you exhale, lower slow and control all the way down. Remember, we can always come to our knees to lower as well. Once you're down on the ground, tops of the feet come to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Lift your chest up and back. Roll your shoulders down away from your ears. Lengthen through the crown of your head and remove wrinkles from the back of your neck. So a lot of times we tend to kink our necks up like this, and it does stretch your throat, but maybe not in a great way. So instead of doing that, just finding more length through your cervical spine. Take another breath in. Really press into your pubic bone in the tops of your feet. Exhale, slowly lower back down. Come back to your toes. Inhale, press straight up to high plank, or all fours, also welcome. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your hips up and back. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Inhale, look ahead. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat, however many steps you want. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Heavy head, relaxed neck. Inhale, mountain pose. Arms reach up overhead, strong belly. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, open up your chest. Remember, not our mid to low back, just our heart for now. Exhale, forward fold. Optional lift through the hands for more shoulder stretch. Inhale, lift halfway. Hands either go to our legs or our sacrum. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands to the ground. Step your feet back. Lower down, halfway stop. Flip to the tops of your feet. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, those of you who are new subscribers, because I know we have a lot, yay, go check out chaturanga modifications too if you need them. I'll try to throw a few in so you can see an example. When you're ready, look ahead. Exhale, step or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Rise up tall. Use your breath to help you rise. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, open up the front side of your body. Exhale, forward fold, letting go on the way down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, hands to the ground. If you don't want to do a chaturanga, remember you can always just hold your high plank, which could also be on your knees, and then just make your way to a downward facing dog. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. From here, inhale, lift your right leg high, pause, and breathe. So notice if you start to kind of lean into your left side when that right leg lifts. See if you can bring the weight a little bit more even between your right and left hands. If you can kind of square your chest back down to the mat as opposed to dumping to one side or the other. And then press a little bit more your left heel towards the floor. Lift the right leg a little higher. Take a breath in. Exhale, low lunge. Bring your right foot all the way up to the top of your mat. Again, however many steps it takes to get there. Here's where we may want our blanket. If we have sensitive joints, you might want to slide a blanket underneath you because we're going to lower our left knee gently down to the ground for crescent moon. So you're going to come up to your thigh. If we have tight shoulders, you can rest there, sink into your hip flexor, or start to bring your arms up overhead for a little more chest and shoulder stretch. If you start to sink into your hip stretch, which is awesome, we do want to stretch our hip flexors today, but if the knee starts to go too far past the ankle, take a second, shimmy the right foot forward so that way your joints can stay stacked and you're not putting pressure on your knee. If you want to mix it up on this slow first hold, you can put your forearm on top of your thigh, reach back, and add a little quad stretch. I mentioned we're going to do quad stretching today, so that might feel kind of nice. If it's not happening, that's okay too. Or if we need to grab a strap, you could also grab a strap, but it's not a huge deal. Take another breath in. And exhale, if you still have a hold of your foot, let it go. We're making our way to half splits. So for half splits, you want to start to straighten your right leg and sink your hips towards your heel. This is where our block might come in handy. You can leave the back toes tucked or top of the foot to the floor. My hamstrings are super tight today, so I'm not going to go too far back, but if we were to go a little further back, and let's say my hamstrings weren't so tight, I needed more challenge, you can keep your back really long and flat and start to fold forward. I'm not able to go that far today, but I think you get the idea. So breathing into the back side of this right leg. One more inhale. And exhale, start to creep your way back forward to a low lunge. Lift your left knee off the floor. You can move the blanket if you used it, or if it's not in your way, just leave it there. Inhale your way up to crescent lunge. Take a big full deep breath in. Now, if you shimmied your right foot way forward for that half moon or that half splits, or crescent moon rather, just get your feet back to where they need to be. Just step your back foot in or your front foot back. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you. From here, just like we did in that mountain pose, we're going to inhale, open up your chest. So little tiny upper back bend, little heart opener. If your balance is okay with it, maybe you also look up a little bit. Now remember that baby cobra we did. We're not trying to crank our necks back, okay? Same idea, just lengthening through the crown of your head and then finding a little gentle arch. Take another breath in. And exhale, start to bring your gaze back forward if you were looking up. Inhale up to crescent lunge. Arms go up overhead. And exhale, warrior two. Pivot your left heel down, shimmy it back a little bit if you need to, sink into your hips, and then arms go parallel to the floor. From here, hugging everything into center. So shoulders stack over our hips, head stacks over our heart. We're in one nice long vertical line through our torso. Without losing that length, inhale, reverse warrior. So what I mean by that is we're not trying to collapse to reach back for the sake of reaching back. We're keeping that lift, that length, and then just hinging. So we get a little bit of side body stretch. Continue to sink into your lunge. One more inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Hands go down to the floor. Step your right foot back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Pause and breathe here. So once again, kind of evening out your weight, finding that lift through the left leg, and then press your right heel a little bit more down to the floor. So stretching out your hamstrings, even out the weight between your right and left hand. Take another inhale, exhale, low lunge. Bring your foot forward. Again, find your blanket if you need to for your knee. If you don't, not a big deal. If you don't have a cork mat, you can also fold your mat over. Don't do it with cork mats because they can crease and break. But if you have just a traditional, rubber mat, that can work. And then coming up to your crescent moon. So again, back toes can be tucked or top of the foot can come to the floor. Sink into your hip flexor for a moment. Like I said, we're trying to open up the front side of the body. If you want a little bit more stretch, arms can come up. And then just breathing. Opportunity again, if you'd like, to place your left forearm on your left thigh. Kick your right foot up behind you. And then maybe you capture your toes or the top of your foot. If you want to get fancy, you can flip your grip. That's not going to work for me today. Again, I'm tight. It's a cold day here in Elgin. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's very cold, and I haven't done much today. I've been sitting on the couch cuddling with Nama. Take another breath in, and then gently release your foot to the floor, making your way to half splits. So sinking again towards your heel. When we flow, it might be a good idea to leave the toes tucked, but for now I'm going to come to the top of my foot. I'm a little bit more open on this side so I can sit back a little bit further. This is what I was talking about of folding forward. Now we're not trying to just collapse and round, okay, because that's not really getting us anywhere. But if the leg can stay somewhat straight and your back can stay a little straight, you can begin to hinge from your hips and fold into that hamstring stretch. Make sure you breathe. One more inhale. And exhale, coming back to your low lunge. If you need to move the blanket out of the way, if it's not in your way, you can always just leave it there. But if you need to move the blanket out of your way, just move it out of your way. Inhale, up to crescent lunge. Again, maybe stepping a little bit inward if we lengthened our stance. And when you find that lift into your crescent lunge, hug your inner thighs to center. So it'll help you be a little bit more buoyant and supported to get your torso up. I see a lot of times people kind of get here and then they struggle to pull themselves up. If your legs are really solid and your foundation is firm, you can use your core a lot more effectively, and it's not quite such a challenge to bring yourself upright. Take a breath in. And exhale, start to interlace your hands together behind you. Again, inhale, rolling your shoulders down and back, and maybe starting to lift your gaze. If balance is a challenge for you, don't rush the lifting the gaze, okay? So we're not just trying to look straight up to the ceiling. You'll kind of wiggle wobble, potentially fall over, all right? So finding a point and then just slowly tracing it upright. As you do, lifting your sternum up, finding that stretch through your chest. One more breath in. And exhale, starting to bring your gaze, again, slowly right back in front of you. Inhale to crescent lunge. And exhale, warrior two. Pivot your foot down to the floor, sink into your lunge. You might notice I always, it's just a habit of mine, take my hands to my hips so that I can feel that little bit of external rotation in my thigh, so that my knee, when I look down at it, I can see my big toe and a little bit of my second toe. So I know that my knee isn't rolling inwards, and I'm finding that opening through my hip flexors as well, especially since today we're working on hip flexors. Just like we did on the other side, lengthening through our spine, breathe in. Sink into your lunge, breathe out. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and then back. Roll your left shoulder away from your ear. Maybe start to peek your gaze up for more balanced challenge. One more breath in. And exhale, chaturanga, hands come down. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Inhale, up dog. Or remember, option to skip it. Exhale, down dog. Take a breath in. And a breath out. So this time we're gonna go through it, flowing breath to movement. Always feel free to go faster or slower at your own pace, or even pause the video if you need to. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, low lunge, take it through to the top of your mat. Gently lower down to your left knee. Inhale, crescent moon. Exhale, half splits. Notice I'm keeping my toes tucked. It's gonna make this transition easier. Inhale, coming all the way up to your crescent lunge. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, open up your heart, maybe looking a little bit up. Exhale, bring your gaze back down to center. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms go up. Exhale, warrior two, pivot your heel down. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back extend. Exhale, chaturanga. If you want more challenge, float your right foot as you lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, low lunge. Use your core to help bring it through. Softly to your right knee. Inhale, crescent moon, sink into your hips. Exhale, half split, stretch your hamstring. Inhale, coming up to your crescent lunge. Again, pull your inner thighs to center. Exhale, interlace your hands behind you. Inhale, open up your chest, maybe look a little bit up. Exhale, bring your gaze back forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back. Exhale, chaturanga. Or remember, just high plank to down dog. Take a breath in and exhale, down dog. Good, breathe in and breathe out. Adding a little bit different stuff in this time. Inhale, lift your right leg high. We're gonna stretch out our hip flexor with a dog at a fire hydrant. So think about kicking your right heel towards your left glute and opening up your hips a little bit. You probably will feel a little bit more weight in your left side, that's okay. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, start to bring your leg back to a three-legged down dog. Inhale, and exhale, low lunge, step it through the top of your mat. Softly to your left knee, inhale, crescent moon, and exhale, half split, start to sink back. Inhale your way up to a crescent lunge, arms overhead. Exhale, interlace your hands together behind you. Inhale, look up a little bit, open your heart. Exhale, begin to look back forward. Inhale, crescent lunge, adding on some balance this time. Exhale, airplane. Take your leg out behind you, lift through your chest, think baby cobra in your heart. One more inhale. Exhale, standing splits. Hands to the floor or to your block. If you feel your front leg bent a lot, if your hamstrings are really tight, use that block to help you support yourself a little bit more so that you can straighten your front leg. Those of us who feel more comfortable, maybe finding some balance, lifting some weight out of one hand or both hands. One more inhale. And exhale, forward fold, feet to the floor, head and neck relax. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga, or you skip it. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, dog at a fire hydrant. Again, pause and breathe as you find that hip flexor stretch. So the front part of your hip, kind of like those V lines sort of, down below those, that's your hip flexor. Take another inhale and exhale, back to your three-legged down dog. Breathe in and exhale, low lunge, send your foot forward. Drop to your right knee, inhale, crescent moon. Exhale, half split, sit your booty back. Inhale up to your crescent lunge, come all the way up. And exhale, interlace your hands behind you. Inhale, lift through your chest. Exhale, gaze back forward. Inhale, crescent lunge. Here we go with our balance. Exhale, airplane. And it might be several baby steps, okay? And that's okay. You might kind of step it in a little bit and then do your airplane. Awesome. As long as we get there, just hold and breathe. Strengthen your belly. One more inhale. Exhale, standing splits. Hands to the ground or to your block. Think about bringing your forehead closer to your left shin. Getting that right leg higher up. Good. Take another inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. One more inhale. And exhale, come on down. Take a quick water break if you want to. And then we're gonna get back to it with some belly up core. All right, so grab your block for me. We're gonna come down to our backs for a little bit of belly up core. So for today, we're gonna do a little bit of block switches to get started. So you're gonna take your block in your hands, legs go up the invisible wall, feet are active, so kind of get your feet more alive. Then you're gonna lift your shoulder blades off the ground, even if you don't have to, okay, because that's what engages our upper belly. Lift your shoulder blades off the ground, put the block between your legs, lower your legs down until you feel your low back wanna lift. Doesn't matter how far that is. And then come back up, lift your shoulder blades once again, switch the block, hence the name block switches, okay? So just keep going back and forth with those. Good, we're here for 5. If you drop the block, not a big deal. For 4, inner thighs stay active, belly stays strong. For 3, 2, and 1. Stretch it out, long body stretch, knees to chest, rock and roll, whatever you need. Then from here, you can go ahead and put the block to the side. We're gonna do some Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together, knees open wide, crunches or butterfly crunches, hands behind your head or neck, big breath in. Exhale, lift from your heart. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Keep going. So a couple things to watch out for here. If you feel your low back swaying away from the ground as you do this, couple things. Number 1, maybe regular crunches are better for you today. That's okay. Also, maybe bringing the knees a little bit more closed. That's also great. Or just a smaller range of motion, either not lifting so high or not lowering so low. When it comes to your upper body, watch out for lifting with your arms and just kind of crunching your neck into your chest. Keep your chin long, just like we've been doing for 3, 2, and 1. Stretch it out, rock and roll, rest, relax. Last little bit we'll do on our backs, legs up the invisible wall once again. Hands can tuck underneath your hips for a little bit more low back support, or just arms by the sides if you don't need that. Take a breath in, exhale, slow and control, lower your legs. Again, once you feel your low back start to scoop away from your mat, you go right back up. It doesn't matter if we just lower a few inches or if we're maybe almost to the ground. Here for 4, make sure your low is slower than your lift. For 3, keep pulling your inner thighs to center. For 2, and 1. Once you're done, knees to chest, or long body stretch it out. Hi yogis, so I hope you enjoyed the first portion of that full length flow. If you want to check out the rest of it or see other videos that we have, full length flows, tutorials, audio meditations, things like that, go check out patreon.com/KatyDoesYoga, K-A-T-Y, and we have all kinds of treats there for you. If you have anything else you want to see, leave me a comment or send me a message and we will do our best to accommodate. Thanks.